Hi, do you know what today's thought? Today's thought's one of those thoughts that I had to debate a little bit about sharing because it's about a current event. I'm recording this the day before you're going to see it. So what's a current event right now is I'm recording this may not be current by the time you're seeing it, but I think this one's going to stay current for a few days. And it has to do with the attack that we all know about by Iran. I think it was 185 ballistic missiles fired at Israel. The intent, obviously, being to do a lot of damage to Israel and kill a bunch of Jews. And it turns out that the only one person got killed, and that person was a Palestinian. So there you go. And I would also throw in that I read a story that 5 Iranians were killed in one of the missile launches. The missile launch failed and 5 Iranians were killed. So this is a pattern that we see over and over again, by the way. I'm going to digress a little bit because it shows how fanatical Israel's enemies are, these people, because whatever they do to hurt Israel, they get hurt more. We're seeing that in Lebanon right now, obviously in Gaza, and now Iran, and it's going to get worse, and that's for Iran, and that's what we're talking about. I mean, now just very minor damage in Israel. Most of those missiles were shot down before they even got to Israel, and now Israel's deciding what to do next, and that's what we're going to talk about. So I'm just going to put up a headline here, and here is the headline. Israel said mulling attacks on Iran oil rigs, nuclear sites in response to missile attack. Cabinet said resolved to respond militarily, but has not decided how. Officials also weighing targeted assassinations, attacks on air defenses, response to be coordinated with U.S. So there's a whole smorgasbord there of options that Israel has, and they don't have to stick with just one. Now, you want my opinion? I have to say the part that worries me a little bit is that last part there, response to be coordinated with U.S., because, well, if it means that Israel is going to, the U.S. is just going to be fully behind whatever Israel decides to do, and we're going to work with the Israelis, that's fine. But with this administration, this crazy administration, this appeasing administration, I wonder if they might be trying to restrain Israel, or not want to try to prevent them from going through with one of the options. For instance, going after the oil infrastructure, that would drive the price of oil right up right before the election, and that would hurt. And that's this administration's priority, which is to stay in power. They don't care about lives or anything else, and I would include in that American lives. Because you have the Houthis firing missiles at American ships, and we've been shooting them down, but we don't retaliate. We don't go after the Houthis anywhere nearly as severely as the Israelis did. The Houthis fired one missile that got into Israel, and they destroyed their whole port, and I think. And destroyed their oil storage facility. I don't know if that was all the oil, but they did a lot of damage. We haven't done anything like that, and I think it's because this administration, well, appeasement is their modus operandi. That's number one, and number two, well, they just don't want to rock the boat, and they don't want to make Iran angry, and that's the problem I see, because the Israelis are going to attack Iran, and the obvious choice, or one of the obvious choices, would be the oil infrastructure, to destroy it totally. Because you have to remember, all Israel would have to say, well, all we're doing is what the sanctions were supposed to do before the United States and stopped enforcing them in the rest of the world. Well, we could have forced the other countries, as Trump said, if you do business with Iran, if you buy any of their oil, then forget about doing business with us, or be ready to pay a 200% tariff, yada, yada, yada. We're not doing anything like that. And so the Iranians, they were just about bankrupt, as Trump mentioned several times. They were down to about $4 billion in reserves. Now they've got hundreds of billions of dollars, plenty of money to fund all their proxies that are wreaking havoc across the Middle East. So that's that would be very simple, and that's what I would do if I were the Israelis. That would be one of the choices, or destroy part of it, part of their structure, and say, well, if you don't stop and if you don't tell your proxies to stand down, then we'll destroy the rest of it. In other words, a demonstration of power. So that's one option. The other one is that I would have thought, and Israel should be able to do two things at once. Though I don't know why we should be participating and working with the Israelis, because the other option would be, or another preferable option would be the one about destroying their air defenses, because another option mentioned going after their nuclear facilities, well, you would have to destroy their air defenses, I would imagine, in order to do that. So you could destroy their air defenses and then say, okay, now everything is wide open to us, meaning Israel, well, and us too, the United States, if there are no air defenses there. We'd cut through Iran like, the hot knife through butter. And they would be forced with a choice. But the thing is that if you destroy the air defenses, then you have all the time in the world to go after the nuclear sites, because the Iranians, learning from, what the Israelis did, they destroyed that reactor in 1981, I believe, in Iraq. That was built above ground, so in one spot. So the Iranians obviously got smart, and they put their facilities under, or they scattered them around, put the essential ones, the centrifuges, under a mountain. So they would have to do the way they got Nasrallah. One bomb didn't do that. What they did, they were timed bombs, and one bomb went in first and made because you can do this now with precise GPS positioning. They can send one bomb in, and then they sent another to go part way through, and then the ground, and then they to the bunker below ground. Then they sent another one right after that to make the hole deeper, and repeat as necessary. The Israelis could do that in Iran too, or also, number one, the facilities are underground, but where are the entrances? The entrances are right there on the ground. So they could destroy the air defenses, bring down the entrances so the Iranians can't get to that, and then just take your own sweet time. One bomb after another, down, 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 down. Dig that hole deeper and deeper until you get into the main facilities. And I understand those centrifuges are pretty delicate, so it wouldn't take very much to get to destroy the centrifuges. And then it would be a matter of maybe getting the uranium out of the country. The point is, there are a whole lot of options, and I think the Israelis are going to be smart, and they're going to take their time, and they're going to plan. They're going to plan an attack. They're not just going to. This was actually a thought I was going to do. Well, that's the main thought, okay? Those of you who say get to the point, that was the point. Now I have some more to say, and if you want to stick around, you're welcome. So what I want to talk about is, I just said the Israelis are planning this time, because that was the mistake in the 2006 Lebanon war, and the Israelis have obviously learned from that. Now, what happened in 2006? Hezbollah, Nasrallah, may he rest in no peace, in hell, wherever he is. He had said afterwards that what happened was the Hezbollah, they killed a couple of Israeli soldiers, and then they kidnapped a couple, 2 or 3, and brought their bodies back, whatever. They weren't alive when they were. All Israel got back was bodies, but dead bodies. But the point is that the Hezbollah did this, and the prime minister at the time, Ehud Olmert, he immediately ordered an attack on Hezbollah. Israel immediately started firing artillery shells. Planes started going in and bombing, and just bombing and lobbing in artillery shells. and they sent the troops in eventually, but he waited and waited and waited for weeks and weeks and weeks. Finally, he sent troops in there, and when he did, I think it was only 19,000 soldiers. So the Israelis, they have 250,000 men under arms, I believe, and they sent in only 19,000. So the soldiers were actually outnumbered in Lebanon. The point is, it did not go well because that prime minister acted impulsively. Now, this prime minister, Netanyahu, this time Israel had been using all the time since 2016 until now to gather intelligence, to find out where all the sites are, all the people are, the leaders, et cetera, et cetera. So they were now able to go in with targeted assassinations and to go and get specific rocket launchers. And obviously it's going much better this time because they planned. As the saying goes, perfect planning prevents poor performance. And the Israelis, that's what they did. So I think as far as Iran goes, because that is a big deal, a real big deal, and the Israelis are finally fed up. And we had this, I did a vlog on this just recently, it was this week, I don't remember which day, but I believe, but Netanyahu saying that we stand with, a message directly to the Iranians, the Iranian people, not the leadership, and saying, we stand with you and you will be free one day and there will be good relations between Israel and Iran, as they were before the Ayatollah came in, under the Shah. And he said, those days will come again. Iran will be free. You will be free of the mullahs sooner than people think. That was the key phrase that I talked about. So we'll have to watch the next few days, or it could be even weeks, but it looks like something seriously big is afoot. It's going to be historic, and if I'm right, if what I'm thinking is true, it's going to be make a major change in the Middle East. The face of the Middle East, you'll see the Abraham Accords. I think you'll have several more countries joining. I think you'll get Saudi Arabia finally to get off the dime. So, as they say, time will tell. And that's my thought for today. Thanks for stopping by. Comments always welcome. Your comments in the comment section below the video. If you could share this video with anyone you think would benefit from it, that would really be great. Of course, if you could subscribe, that would really be great. But most of all, come back and see me again. I would love to see all of you again. And until I do see all of you again, bye.